Miang Lim, Anthony Scott, Catherine, my parliamentary colleague Megan, all the distinguished guests in the room, and I see some very familiar faces, and of course the judging panel for their work, and most importantly the 12 finalists in this Sir Paul Callaghan Young Science Orator Award. Can I congratulate you all on your success in being part of a pretty august group, I believe, and not to put too much pressure on you, carrying quite a lot of weight on your shoulders for your successes in this award process. Can I say firstly, I've just arrived back from something in Auckland, which I'll tell you about shortly, and I was determined to get to this function this evening because I'm passionate about, perhaps because of my history in the radio business, passionate about the importance of communication. In many ways, knowledge is not knowledge unless it's communicated to somebody. And that skill of communication is so crucially important and often undersold in its importance in terms of actually persuading people as to the importance of the knowledge that you have and can impart. I'll come back to that in a second, but I'm told you've had a very inspiring day, hearing from some of New Zealand's brightest and most passionate young science communicators. And I'm only sorry that I haven't had the opportunity to hear you, but I'm sure if you want to tell me afterwards some of the things that you were talking about today, I'd be very happy to hear those. Our country's future science leadership may in fact be in this room today. Again, no pressure. I'm sure that's just fine. As many of you are aware, the future prosperity of our country depends on our ability to harness our talent in areas like science, technology, engineering, maths, better mention the humanities quickly, and the other disciplines that I've missed out, so all of the above, to improve our global competitiveness and address key challenges. And of course, a high quality education system is essential to achieving this, and can I tell you, I get enthused every time I go overseas and talk in the international education sphere with the countries that we seek sometimes to have their talent come to New Zealand to learn, and just how excited they are by the prospect of doing that, which I think is an endorsement of our whole system. And I know we debate various parts of it from time to time, but I think education is a little bit for us like the All Blacks, in that we do debate at great length how we make the system perfect, but we sometimes don't acknowledge enough that we're pretty good from the position that we start. Today I wanted to just observe a little bit, if I could, of the legacy that the late Sir Paul has left us. He also was of a view that New Zealand must export high-value products packed with knowledge, and he believed strongly in the commercialisation of science. So earlier today, I was privileged to join the Prime Minister to announce the structure for something which I think Sir Paul may have approved of, and that's the Advanced Technology Institute, which will support exactly that. Our aim is for the ATI to become a high-tech HQ for innovative New Zealand businesses, from startups through to small businesses, through to those ones that are getting bigger, to help New Zealand businesses innovate and stay ahead of their competition, to help get our best ideas out of the lab and into the marketplace faster. I also am very enthused with the thought of it becoming a high-tech HQ for our best and brightest young scientists, engineers, designers and technicians. That's something that Sir Paul was always passionate about. He was a huge supporter of young emerging talent. And of course, some of that talent is on display in this room. New Zealand's science leadership of tomorrow will come from the young men and women here at this program. Scientifically literate students like those that you've heard from today with the ability to communicate will go on to help us make informed decisions in many areas of our lives. They are more aware of the opportunity science has for addressing some of our key issues, like access to energy, cancer research, or the quality of our diets. They are also aware of the opportunities that science and innovation provide to transform our economy. There are obvious economic benefits from science education. In a scientifically literate workforce, people can make informed decisions about the ways in which business should use the opportunities created by science and innovation. In this country, we're often quick to point out the problems in New Zealand's science and innovation ecosystem, but I think every now and again it's worth to reflect on the vast progress we've made. I think over the last several years, public understanding of the importance of science and innovation has increased, and in fact increased significantly. Discussions about science, for example, are happening in a way that they weren't only a decade ago. I was in Tolaga Bay last month for the Transit of Venus Forum. I was impressed by how attendees from right across the community from all walks of life have recognised the importance of science and innovation. And I thought one of the neatest things was all the kids mingling with the scientists outside this Tolaga Bay area school and telling them proudly all they knew about the Transit of Venus and how it all worked, to some of what were probably some of the better astronomers in the world. But it was pretty neat to see. As reflected in today's presentations, our young people are passionate about science-related topics like solar power, alternative fuels, pharmaceutical design, and social science. They understand the importance and potential that science has to deliver lasting economic and social benefits for New Zealand and for society as a whole, which is just as well really, because they are the future. We have very much heightened the importance of science and innovation with our approach in pretty tough fiscal times. We've made an investment just in this last budget of another $326 million over 4 years, which has actually lifted the overall science and innovation budget now up from about $1 billion when we came in office to about $1.25 billion this coming financial year. I'm sure there are many in this room who think it could only be a little bit more. In recognition of the importance of science, one of the things that we're embarking on is a series of national science challenges, which I actually think will be a pretty exciting public discussion about which things would qualify as the most fundamental issues New Zealand is facing over the next 10 years for its future. There's been a lot of positive changes in the past decade, and while it's hard to put this down to any one cause, the efforts of leaders such as Sir Paul, the success of innovative New Zealand companies, and the focus on serious scientific challenges posed to our generation have all played a part in lifting our awareness. Can I say I think it is especially fitting that Sir Paul's name is associated with these awards for young science orators. It is perhaps his communicational ability that most influenced the direction of the policy debate in New Zealand over the last many years. Having the knowledge, as I said at the outset, is crucial, but it's the ability to communicate that knowledge and the excitement about that knowledge that is the truly special ability, and we want to foster that and encourage it. So, in closing, the government, and I think most New Zealanders, want to see this country be recognised around the world as a smart nation. Other small countries have achieved this, and my personal belief is that we're on our way. Educating our young people in the areas of science, technology, engineering and maths is absolutely crucial to this. So Paul put forward that vision of making New Zealand a smart and innovative nation, a place where talent wants to live. He believed that science, the power of the mind, and education can help make this country achieve economic prosperity, greater social cohesion, and a higher standard of living. He was never afraid of expansive thinking and believed that we needed to be much more ambitious in the goals we set ourselves. I think our challenge as a country and for the generations to follow is to not let that vision down. Thank you very much for having me here this morning.